from the Satan the accursed. In the name of Allah, most kind, most merciful. Respected ulamas, respected elders, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
May God's peace be with you. I welcome you to this meeting. Hear Deedat speak on Rushdie. It is indeed a great honor for us all to have Sheikh Ahmed Deedat amidst us once more. The internationally renowned Muslim scholar of the Christian Bible will share with us some of his experiences. He will tell us how in South Africa, with a Muslim population of less than 2%, they were about the first to succeed in having satanic verses banned, and how they were able to have Rushdie stopped from entering that country. We must bear in mind, sisters and brothers, that a British passport holder does not need a visa to enter that country. And South Africa is the country where apartheid is practiced. Ladies and gentlemen, it is also a privilege for me to introduce to you our chairman for today, Brother Sharif Malnik. Brother Malnik, Alhamdulillah, embraced Islam some 10 years ago. He is a lawyer holding a Juris Doctor from the US. He is a successful international businessman and presently resides in London. Sisters and brothers, Mr. Sharif Malnik.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Deedat, Brother Shamshad, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Before I introduce the honorable and distinguished speaker, I have been asked to read this to you. Satan, being thus confined to a vagabond, wandering, unsettled condition, is without any certain abode, for though he has, in consequence of his angelic nature, a kind of empire in the liquid waste or air, yet this is certainly part of his punishment, that he is, without any fixed place or space, allowed him to rest the sole of his foot upon. Has anyone here actually read or heard this passage before within the last 12 months?
Put up the hands.
Could you, with a show of hands, please, has anybody actually heard or read this?
One.
Yes, I see one and approximately 6,000 people here. This is actually the first page, the grand opening, the prologue, if you will, of the satanic verses. It is really the great hoax of the 20th century that with over 1 million copies sold, with people willing to defend that book with their lives, that no one has actually read the book. And if someone says they have read it, I'm sure they don't understand what they've read. Because if you have read this book, and you understand what you've read, then you would not have defended it, but you would have rallied against it. This book truly represents a conspiracy against the nation. We have been fooled, all of us. Satanic Salman aptly chose that passage, which I read to you, to describe himself with no abode, punished, and with no place to rest the sole of his foot. An interesting prediction. And yet, this book was given the Book Award. It is a standard of literature which our future generations will study and be influenced by. We cannot allow that to happen. You cannot afford to allow that to happen. I should like to mention, as many in our audience are familiar with our most honorable speaker, you may have noticed that today's program did not begin with a recitation from the Holy Quran. This is most unusual for our prolific speaker, as you are probably aware if you have seen any of the 65 videotapes produced by Sheikh Deedat and his organization, the Islamic Propagation Center International. The Holy Quran will not be recited today because the speaker shall deal with the actual contents of the satanic verses. I say the actual contents because I'm sure that you don't know what this obscene book contains, and you have proved it here today, one hand in 6,000. It is the vulgar nature of the satanic verses which precludes us from reading the Holy Quran to open the program today. But, ladies and gentlemen, somebody has to do the job. Do not despair. Sheikh Ahmed Deedat is here with us today, and he has done the job for us. He is the first person to deal with the contents, the actual contents of the satanic verses, however distasteful this may be. He is not afraid to dirty his hands. For, in order to remove an impurity, one must necessarily dirty one's hands. Let us remember that it is Salman Rushdie and his defenders who have provoked and necessitated this response. I would like to warn the audience that passages from the satanic verses will be read aloud. These passages are offensive to every decent man and woman. Unfortunately, there is no other way to properly deal with this subject. So I would suggest that we have 2 minutes. If there are any persons here who are prudish, or if there are any children here, I would suggest that they take this opportunity to leave the hall. You have been warned also in the advertisements that this is not for prudish men or women. It is necessary to lay out a few ground rules under which we shall operate today. We ask, or rather insist, that you remain calm and orderly. Do not attempt to break the stage security perimeter. At the end of the lecture, members of the audience are invited to ask questions related to the topic. Allow the speaker his uninterrupted time to speak, and then you may participate in the discussion by asking your questions at the appropriate time. I have no doubt that many who are present here today are genuinely seeking truth. Let our behavior today confirm that. It is my great privilege and honor to introduce a world-renowned Muslim scholar of the Christian Bible and comparative religions, director of the Islamic Propagation Center International in Durban, South Africa, the author of dozens of books, a great lecturer and debater who has debated with Jimmy Swaggart, the United States evangelist, Professor Clark, Dr. Robert Douglas of the Zwimmer Institute, and so on and so on. His credentials are too numerous to list here. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, respected elders, may I present Sheikh Ahmed Deedat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا بمثل ما عوقبتم به ولئن صبرتم لهو خير للصابرين صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Mr. Chairman and brethren, the subject that has been advertised, as you read it in the paper, was not the original topic of discussion this afternoon. The original topic, as we wanted to advertise, was the subject of this book. Each and every one of you have it. If you have it in that envelope, please take it out. Have a look at it. Everyone is supposed to have this booklet. The cover, it says, How Salman Rushdie Fooled the West. That is how we wanted to advertise, in 2 colors, which we had planned. We sent it over, the negatives, for publication. But the so-called British Free Press, they couldn't stomach it. How Rushdie fooled the West. They said they won't advertise that. They won't take our paid adverts. Believe me, I'm talking about your great country, which stands for freedom of speech and expression. For who? Not for everybody, for certain selected groups. This innocent advertisement, how Rushdie fooled the West, they couldn't stomach that. So we had to change it for their benefit to say, a challenge to the giants of the British literary world. These giants, the so-called giants, who are standing in support of Rushdie. I have been reading their statements. They said, never mind what he says, we support Rushdie. Never mind what he says. He is a god. He is their god today. Whatever he says, we support him. How can you deal with people like that? You say, come forward. Now I want to educate you. I want you to know what he says, because you haven't really read the book. That is why you talk like that. An amazing thing, I'm telling you now, really speaking, nobody has really read the book. Muslims and non-Muslims. Because I'm meeting your people in this country, journalists. And I'm asking them, they are asking us, I'm asking them, have you read the book? Most of them say no. They are honest. But some of them, they said, yes, we have. So I asked them, what have you read? What have you read? He said, well, it's a very, very difficult book to read. I said, yes. So many people say that. What did you read? I will come to that. I will come to that in time. Now, this book came out in September 88, I take it. And there was a furore among the Muslims of Britain. A dear friend of mine here in London, by the name of Arfaq Malik, an attorney at law, a lawyer, he faxes some pages of this filthy, dirty, satanic work to me for my attention. And naturally, any Muslim, any decent person on reading what those pages contain would be infuriated, and I was infuriated. What to do? We said, this book should be banned. So we made an approach to the director of publications, a censorship board in South Africa, and showed him a few selected pages. And it did the job. It did the job. In a country where we are less than 2%, we have no vote, no voice. One white man can buy the whole lot of us out, lock, stock and barrel. One white man. That's what we are worth. And yet we were able to perform a miracle. We beat most Muslim countries to the draw, except for India was the first. I feel that there will be hardly anybody who can contradict me that we were the second nation in the world to have the book banned. South Africa, the land of apartheid, the polecat of the world, did it. How was it done? These selected pages, we take them over to the director and say, sir, Have a look at this. The satanic verses. Page 461. You don't have to worry. This book is an instruction book, is an instruction manual. When you read it, some of the pages and things that you miss out, you'll find them here. This is an instruction manual for you all. He reads, nigger eat white man shit. Nigger. You know who he's talking about? The Africans. He eat white man shit. You know this word shit. It was so difficult for me to use here, in this very hall. There was a debate and I wanted to use this word and I skirted around and around, beating around the bush, and I couldn't come to it. I couldn't say the word shit. But now I have to say shit because I have to quote him. I said, now you know, human dung, you know, cow dung. What the hell? Therefore you were warned. You were warned. This is, look, please, if you are hypersensitive, don't come. Don't bring your women and children with you. But you have braved yourself to say, now we are prepared to listen. We are in Britain. You know, these words that I'm uttering here, I can't utter in my own country because the book is banned. I can't quote the fellow. In my own country, I can't publish this book. This tape that you will see, in case that you want to purchase this tape, videotape of this meeting, you will be able to purchase it and enjoy it at home if you want to. Put your children one side. Put them to sleep when you see this. But in my country, I can't do anything. I can't touch the tape. I can't touch the book. This is your privilege. You see, you have that freedom of speech and expression. I say, well, you enjoy. So, nigger eat white man shit. So the censor reacts. He says, this is racist. He is a racist himself. But he said, this is rank racism. You know, how will the Africans react to this? This book is telling them that they enjoy eating white man shit. Because he has an afterthought, who? Satanic Salman. And on page 529 he says, black shit is bad. So for this brown Britisher, white shit is good, acceptable, but not black shit. Our censor says, look, this should be banned. We say boss, you say boss, we say boss, that's his language. You say boss, this is your privilege. He says, you know, boss, sir, master, master. He is coming to South Africa to promote his book. He says, no, we can't have him. He says, boss, this is your privilege. So the book is banned and he was banned from coming to South Africa. We could have done the same thing here. You see, but we didn't really read the book. It's an amazing thing. Nobody really reads it. You see, we get worked up emotionally. This is human nature. Something that hurts us, we have no time to think. If I was here with you during those days, I would have joined you. In your marches, in your crying, in book burning, I would have been one with you. But you see, I'm at a distance. And from a distance, you see more things than what you are now directly involved. You are in it. You are under pressure, under attack. You are barbarians. You remind them of Hitler. Hitler burned books, so you might also create a Nazi party here and, you know, overtake the country. All these fears, they well up, and now you have to battle with this. Now I am qualified to speak on this for a number of reasons. Number one, you see, I am an elder brother of yours. To some of you, I'm an uncle. Some of you can call me grandpa. I'm an old man, number one. Number two, I have read the book. Nobody can say, well, look, did you read the book? And say, no, but you know, this is what people say. From here, say, so no, I read the book. Number two. Number three, I'm one of you. You see, to everybody, I'm a South African. But if I tell you that I carry a document with me, a British passport, 63-year-old passport, you believe it? There would hardly be a single senior citizen in Britain who would be having a British passport 63-year-old. If you open it, you'll see my picture when I was 9-year-old, what I looked like then. And I cherish it. Well, by God, I cherish it because of that picture more than anything else. But now I value it. I'm a Britisher by birth and by holding a British passport. I would be looking forward to the pleasure of creating a senior citizens, British passport holders of 60 years and more. If your father or anybody, your grandfather has got a passport 60 years and over, let me know. We would like to create a society in Britain. So I am qualified. Now what? In retrospect now, because it's far away from all those happenings, now I can talk more freely. I said, look, what I would have done. I couldn't have. If I was in the midst of you, I couldn't have thought all these things out. It's impossible. See, when you are under pressure, under turmoil, and the mass hysteria that can be generated by things like this, you can't think. So I'm not too clever. What I'm going to tell you now, say, this guy's too clever. I'm not, wallah. I tell you, I'm not clever. I am now benefiting from other people's experiences. I have been watching your TV debates on these topics. People send me the videotapes. I watch them. From Britain, from America. And I'm getting educated by those debates. I said, what's wrong? Why don't these people tell the fellow, you know, when questioned, what is it that's creating such temper, such anger in you? What makes you so angry? So the guy says, you know, he spoke slanderous things and he stored filthy language. One of these programs I'm watching, the nearest a brother came to answering. He's prodded. What did he say? And I watch his face. See, the camera was on his face. And I can see that he's in hell. You know, he doesn't know how to get out of that situation. So he takes a deep, he said, what is it? So he said, he used word like benchod. 50 million people, the Americans are listening. What did it mean to them? Nothing. And you get enraged. You want to go and kill the man for that? What did he say? I said, our cases have been going by default. If you read the book, here, if you took the right approach, the approach even now is not too late. I will show you ways and means. Very cheaply you can get things done, very cheaply. Not with the gun, not with the bomb, not with the stone. Very cheaply, by God. I show you how it can be done. I said, you should have contacted one of these Tory MPs. Tory, it was Tory. You know this Conservative Party, Margaret Thatcher's Conservative Party. Tory. How you pronounce it? Tory. One of these Tory MPs, and shown him. He says, look, have a look at this, sir. Our Iron Lady, our Prime Minister, this fellow Rushdie, show him the page, open the page, page 269. He calls our Maggie torture. Torture, not Thatcher, torture. One sentence, one word sentence, torture, full stop. Then he calls her Maggie the bitch. You know that? He is calling our Prime Minister Maggie the bitch, and he got away with it. Then on page 80 of his book, he says the British. I don't know how I'm going to say this. Page 80, he says the sister, F-U-C-K-I-N-G, British. You see, he's thinking in Gujarati or Hindi. He's born in Bombay. He wants to use the word that our representative used on the TV, Benchod. No, he's thinking in that language and he translates it, but not at that stage. When he uses that word, no translation. Sister fucking British. This is what he's telling them. You fuck your own sisters. British, whether you are Pakistani British or English British or Sikh British or Jamaican British, you fuck your own sisters. You take that? You take that? I said, tell it this to the MP. Look at this, sir. And this guy on page 169, I'll come to it later in detail, he has sex with the Queen. He even cohabits with the Queen. I will come to that. I tell you, immediately the book would have been banned. Immediately. No arguments. But you were crying about yourself. You know, he saw my mother, he saw my fathers, our spiritual fathers, our Sahabas, he did this, he did that. It's a good luck to you. You are a people, you know, you have been a challenge to us for over 1,000 years. You conquered once Christian lands, never to be retaken. The whole of North Africa was Christian. Whole of North Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, the whole lot was Christian. The whole of the Middle East, Syria, Palestine, what you call Lebanon, all this was Christian. You came and ruled Spain for 800 years. You knocked at the gates of Vienna. You have it a challenge. And even now, when you are down and out in the gutter, even now you tell the guy, he says, look, sir, don't drink. Drinking is bad. Gambling is bad. No dating, no dancing, no courting. Don't eat the pig. Don't you? Wala taqulu salasa. Don't say Trinity. Look, you are a thorn in his side. Now for a change, your own child, one of your own, he's put a pineapple up your backside. See how it feels now? He's getting sadistic pleasures. He's getting pleasures in our pain. You cry, you wail, you burn books, you march, he's happy. He's getting a subtle revenge on you through your own. The way was to turn the tables. Bas, I don't know how you address them. I don't know how you address them here. I would say, Bas, Pakka Sahib, look what this guy is saying about you. Not about me, my mother. About you, your mother, your sister, your wife, your daughter. You show him and you see how he reacts. Some fellows tell me that the British are insensitive. They are insensitive. They have grown a thick skin. You can tell them what you like. You can swear them as you like. They don't react. I said, don't take a chance. You're making a mistake. He's highly sensitive. But his sensitivity is selective. Where it affects him, I will give you illustration, examples. Right. So generally, they pose us the question, have you read the book? And when we say no, they have a big laugh. They have a big laugh. Now for a change, you should ask them, have you read the book, sir? He says, no. And you are armed with this booklet of mine. You just memorize some of these statements, verses, and you quote him. He says, you know, sir, the first page of satanic Salman satanic verses, first page, chapter 1, page 1. He says, a direct quotation I'm giving you, direct quotation from the book, page 1. Don't go far. Start with page 1. You have been going too far. You know, you are going to page 268 and 300. Don't go that far. Start with page 1. If you have been reading, you can start with page 1. Even before page 1 you can start with his prologue, his prophecy about his own destruction. Not a place to rest his foot upon. No place for him. No peace. That's what he's saying. He's prophesying somebody is making him to write. Say, look, this is your end. This is your destiny. That's the first page, really. But he doesn't number it. So we take chapter 1, that page, first page. He says, proper London. This place here, London. Are we in London? Yeah, proper London. Bye. Here we come. Those bastards down there won't know what hit them. Which bastards? Londoners. You Londoners are bastards. Whether you are Pakistani Londoners or Sikh Londoners or English Londoners, what Londoners are you? If you are a Londoner, you are a bastard, and the things are coming down to destroy you. Direct quotation. Now, how does he feel? He said, look, he's calling us all bastards. You accept that? If it came from you as a Pakistani or as an Arab, the guy will punch you on the jaw. You know that? But this is a son-in-law. He married your sister, your daughter, a British girl. So you have to take it from him. No? You see, we people from the East, we seem to respect our son-in-laws, our brother-in-laws more than our own children. You know that? Because he is my son-in-law, my daughter's happiness is at stake. He is my brother-in-law, my sister's. This is our mentality. Is that the English mentality too? I don't know. But they have some special feeling towards this satanic Salman. So he starts with bastard, very mild. But I said, wait a little till he gets warmed up. Let him get warmed up. That's first page that was. He uses on that first page 16 Hindi words. 16, 1-6. For which he gives you no meaning. And you lap it up. I'm talking about the English now. The Hindi, maybe some Hindu. Our young people, what will they understand? Yar, bhai. Huh? What will you understand? What is he talking about? Takatamtum. No. If I read it to you, you can't imagine. You can't imagine anybody taking this book up, paying 15 pounds, the fool. He pays 15 pounds for this book, and he reads this. I read the first paragraph. See what you make of it. To be born again, sang Jibreel Farishta, tumbling from the heavens. First you have to die. Hoji, 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 hoji. The Englishman understands what he's saying. Hoji, hoji. To land upon the bosomy earth, first one needs to fly. Tata, takatum. The Englishman laps it up. Very nice, very nice. What? Indian spice. Still the paragraph is not finished. How to ever smile again? At first you won't cry. How to win the darling's love? Mister, without a sigh. Baba, if you want to get born again, just before dawn, one's winter's morning, New Year's Day, or thereabouts, 2 real, full-grown, living men fell from a great height, 29,002 feet, towards the English Channel, without benefit of parachutes or wings, out of a clear sky. And this is a masterpiece of the English language. Yes, for which gets a Booker Award. He gets a Booker Award for that. And it carries on 16 words. And by the time I finish up, I said, you know, this guy here, he scattered the whole book, over 100 different exotic Indian words. And the choices of the language from the gutters of Bombay, or the sewers, you know, sewer pipes from the sewers of Bombay, page 80. He says, hijras, chutias, shits. The Englishman, I want to know what is he lapping up. He's telling the guy, hijras, chutias, shits. Yeah, do you understand shits? So he senses the other thing must be also something. But what does he know what he's reading? And these poor fools, the French will translate that into French with hijras, chutias, shits. And the German will hijras, chutias, shits. And our Jewish brethren, cousins in Palestine, in Israel, in Hebrew they will write in Hebrew.